He was the restaurant's new owner. He threw the change on the floor, not in his hand, not on the counter, on the floor. And then, he pointed down. "Pick it up." 2 words, said out loud, in front of everyone. The restaurant went dead silent. 30 people watched. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. And Marcus, this 34-year-old man who had driven 2 hours to be here today, he just stood there, still holding his receipt. The manager folded his arms, smirked, like he had done this 100 times before. Maybe he had, but here's what that manager didn't know. What nobody in that restaurant knew. Marcus hadn't come there to eat. Stay with me, because what happens next, you won't see coming. Marcus Davis grew up watching his grandmother cook. Every Sunday morning, her small apartment on the east side smelled like fried catfish, collard greens, and something unnameable. Something that wasn't just food. It was safety. It was home. He was 7 years old the first time she let him stir the pot. He was 12 the first time he cooked a full meal by himself. And by the time he graduated high school, he had one goal: to own a restaurant that felt exactly like her kitchen. It took him 18 years. Marcus had worked in kitchens since he was 16. Dishwasher, line cook, sous chef, then head chef at 3 different restaurants across the state. He knew how the industry worked, the long hours, the thin margins, the way owners talked about their regulars like family. He saved quietly, he invested carefully, and 2 years ago, he saw the listing. A mid-sized family diner in a town 40 miles from where he grew up. Good bones, a loyal customer base, a retiring owner who wanted to sell to someone who'd love it the way she had. Marcus made an offer. It took 8 months of back and forth, lawyers, inspections, and paperwork. But last Tuesday, officially, legally, on paper, Marcus Davis became the new owner of Hartfield Family Diner. But here's the detail that changes everything. He hadn't told the staff yet. The previous owner, a woman named Carol, had asked him to give her one final week, a chance to say goodbye to her employees on her own terms, in her own way. Marcus respected that. He agreed. So he came in, unannounced, just to get a feel for the place, just to watch, just to observe the team he'd be leading. He sat at a corner table, ordered a coffee and a slice of pie, wore a plain jacket, no title, no announcement. What he didn't know was that one specific employee, a manager named Derek, had developed a reputation over the last few months. Other staff had complained to Carol. She'd spoken to him twice, but Derek was her nephew, and some things are complicated. Marcus didn't know any of that. He just wanted a coffee and a slice of pie. He ordered. The pie came. He asked for his change in cash. Derek walked over personally. And something about Marcus, maybe his jacket, maybe the way he looked, maybe something uglier and older than either of them, something snapped in Derek. He counted out the change, and he threw it on the floor. And then he said, "Pick it up." And then everything changed. Marcus looked at the coins on the floor. He looked at Derek. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't move. "I'm sorry?" Marcus said. "Quiet. Even." "You heard me," Derek said, loud enough for the nearest tables to hear. "You want your change? Pick it up." A woman at the next table made a small, pained sound. A busboy near the back froze. An older couple stopped mid-bite. This was the moment. Most people would have done one of two things: walk out or explode. Marcus did neither. He pulled out the chair across from him, slowly, deliberately, and sat back down. "Come here," Marcus said. He gestured toward the chair on the other side of the table. "Sit down for a second." "Excuse me?" Derek laughed. "Please," Marcus said. "Sit." Something in his tone made Derek pause. Not scared, not threatened, but something. Maybe it was the total absence of anger. That can be its own kind of power. Derek sat, arms crossed, smirking, but sitting. He sat down. Big mistake. "What's your name?" Marcus asked. "Derek. And I'm the manager here, so..." "I know you're the manager," Marcus said. "And I need you to know something." He reached into his jacket, pulled out a folded document, placed it flat on the table between them. Derek looked at it. He frowned. He leaned forward, and then the color drained from his face. It was the deed, the ownership transfer, effective as of last Tuesday, signed by Carol Hartfield, countersigned by Marcus Davis. "As of this week," Marcus said, his voice still level, "I'm the new owner of this restaurant. Your restaurant. This one. Right here." Derek stared at the paper. The table next to them. The woman who had made the small, pained sound. She was now standing, craning her neck to see what was happening. A cook had appeared at the kitchen pass-through, watching. The busboy hadn't moved in 3 minutes. Derek started. "Don't," Marcus said, not unkindly. "Just listen." Marcus picked up the coins from the floor, one by one. Slowly, he placed them on the table between them. Neat. Stacked. And then he said something nobody in that room expected. My grandmother washed dishes in a place like this for 22 years. She never once complained. She never once asked for anything more than what she earned. He tapped the stack of coins. Every coin matters. Every person matters. The way you treat a customer tells me everything I need to know about how you treat people. Derek was very still. This is your one conversation, Marcus continued. Not a write-up. Not an HR meeting. Just a conversation, man to man. Because I believe people can do better. I genuinely do. He stood up, straightened his jacket. But if I ever see something like that again, from you, from anyone on this team, it's done. Are we clear? Derek nodded. One word. Yes. And then the woman at the next table started clapping. Slowly at first, and then, table by table, the entire lunch crowd joined in. 3 weeks passed. Marcus officially introduced himself to the full staff on a Monday morning. He brought breakfast, made it himself, at 5 a.m. before anyone arrived. He told them about his grandmother's kitchen, about the 18 years, about what he wanted this place to feel like. He told them this restaurant wasn't just a business. It was a space where the people who worked there mattered as much as the people who walked through the door. And then he told them that one of their own had been given a second chance. Derek had asked to stay, not as manager, just as part of the team. He'd said it quietly, head bowed, the morning after the incident. I've never been talked to like that, Derek told a coworker later, according to someone who was there. He didn't yell. He didn't fire me. He just looked at me like I was worth the trouble of fixing. That sentence hit differently than almost any other in this story. Worth the trouble of fixing. That's a kind of grace most people don't offer, and most people don't receive. Marcus rehung the original sign Carol had made when she first opened the place. He kept her photo behind the register. He called her on opening day, his first official day as owner, to thank her for the way she run the place. Carol told me the bones of this place were good, Marcus said at a small staff gathering that evening. I just needed to see if that was true. He paused. It is. Nobody clapped this time. Some people just nodded. A few looked at the floor. One of the older waitresses, 23 years at the diner, put her hand over her mouth and turned toward the wall for a moment. You know that thing where a place just feels right? That's what happened that evening at Hartfield Family Diner. It felt right. After everything Marcus went through to get to that room, 18 years of saving, a lifetime of watching his grandmother work without complaint, the thing that moved people most wasn't the confrontation. It was that he picked up the coins and used them to make a point about dignity. So here's what I want to know from you. If you had been Marcus, and that manager threw your change on the floor, what would you have done? Walk out? Confront him differently? Something else entirely? Let me know in the comments. I genuinely want to know, and I read them. If stories like this one matter to you, stories about real people, real moments, real humanity, tap subscribe. That's what this channel is built for. One story at a time. And next time? A nurse worked 27 straight hours during a crisis, and the one person who stopped to thank her, it personally had a secret of his own. Stay close.